Imagine you're about to lend someone a large sum of money. How do you make sure they'll pay you back? In Louisiana notary law, that's where security rights come in. Whether it's a mortgage on a house, a lien on a car, or a pledge of valuable property, these tools protect creditors and secure obligations. And if you're studying for the Louisiana Notary Exam, understanding the difference between security types, especially pledges, could make or break your score. Let's dive into the basics of security and pledge, so you'll be ready for whatever questions come your way. Hey everyone, welcome back to Notarized by Christy. If you're preparing for the Louisiana Notary Exam, you've come to the right place. In today's video, we're diving into a civil code concept that's crucial for every notary to understand. Security and pledge. This topic might sound intimidating, but I'm here to break it down into the essentials you need to know for the exam. Let's start with the basics. In notarial practice, security isn't about bodyguards or alarms. Instead, it refers to the legal mechanisms that ensure a debt or obligation will be paid. When someone owes money, security allows the creditor to take legal claim over some part of the debtor's property. That way, if the debtor doesn't fulfill their obligations, the creditor has a way to collect what's owed. The two main terms we'll explore today are security and pledge. So, let's talk about security first. According to Article 3136 of the Louisiana Civil Code, security is defined as an accessory right. This means it's a right attached to a primary obligation. In simple terms, it's there to ensure the main debt or obligation is fulfilled. Security can be created by legislation or through a contract. And it gives the creditor, think of them as the lender, the right to claim property if the debt isn't paid. Let's talk about the different types of security. There are a few different types of security. The main ones include suretyship. This is when someone else promises to pay if the original debtor can't. Privilege. This is a priority right over certain property, giving one creditor a privileged claim before other creditors. Mortgage. Commonly associated with property, a mortgage is a right over a movable property, like real estate, to secure a debt. Pledge. This is what we're really focusing on today, and it's the right over movable property to secure an obligation. So, think of these as layers of protection for a creditor. If you're lending money, you want to know that you'll be paid back, and these types of security help make that possible. Now let's get into pledges. In Louisiana law, a pledge is a type of security that allows a debtor to offer up movable property, things like vehicles, jewelry, or even stock certificates, as collateral for a debt. Unlike mortgages, which deal with immovable property, pledges are all about movable property. Article 3141 defines that a pledge is a real right. This means it's tied to the property itself and follows that property, even if it changes hands. According to Article 3142, only certain things can be pledged, like movable assets and some specific rights in an immovable property, such as a lease. So, how does a pledge work? When someone makes a pledge, they're giving a creditor the right to hold or control the pledged property until the debt is paid off. This is often done through a written contract. Article 3150 states that the pledge contract doesn't need to be signed by the creditor to be valid. The debtor's consent is enough to make it binding. And to make sure it's enforceable against third parties, the pledge must be in writing. Enforcement is key here. If the debtor doesn't fulfill their obligation, the creditor can take legal action to enforce the pledge. According to Article 3158, the creditor has the right to sell the pledged property to recover the debt. This can be done either through a public or private sale, depending on the contract terms. One more thing to know is the role of UCC 9. The Uniform Commercial Code, or UCC, was designed to create consistent rules across states for transactions involving personal property. Louisiana adopted UCC 9 in 1990. and it mainly governs security interests in movable property, like equipment, inventory, and other personal goods. But keep in mind, UCC 9 doesn't cover real estate or interests established by the government. For example, UCC 9 applies to loans secured by movable goods, like a business loan secured by inventory. However, it does not cover real estate or government-established interests. It's an important distinction to understand, especially when the exam might throw questions your way about what UCC covers versus what's under Louisiana Civil Code. Now that we've covered some basics, here are some key takeaways for the exam. 1. Know the difference between pledge, mortgage, and privilege. These terms come up a lot. 2. Remember that pledges only apply to movable property. If it's a house or land, you're looking at a mortgage, not a pledge. 3. Understand the basics of UCC 9. Just enough to know what it covers, movable property, and what it doesn't, like real estate. 4. Enforcement of pledges. A creditor can sell pledged property to recoup losses if the debtor defaults. Article 3158 is where this is detailed. And that concludes the basics you need to know regarding security and pledge in Louisiana notary law. Remember, the exam tests your understanding of these principles, so focus on knowing the distinctions and how each security right applies. If this video helped you, please give a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more notary exam tips and breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your studies.